Our final storyteller this evening is Jollson Varghese.
I was just 12 years old, studying in the 7th grade in school in a remote Indian village. My school was 3 miles away from my house, and there was no school bus. So it was common for kids in my village to walk to school. Once I faced a dilemma that many of you can relate to, the need for new pair of shoes. The ones I had were in a terrible state, and it was affecting my confidence at school. But there was one catch. We lived in a place where shoe repairing was a common practice, and buying new shoes was considered unnecessary or luxury unless you can see your toes when you look through the bottom of your shoes. So my dad thought my shoes were repairable, so he said no to buying new shoes. One morning, as I was getting ready to school, I decided to muster my courage to go ask my dad one more time for those new pair of shoes. Because the shoe I was wearing was literally, front was torn open, and it felt like anybody could see the white socks I wore beneath. However, his response was a heartbreaking no. So I went to school with a heavy heart, fully expecting my friends to tease me mercilessly about my shoes, which actually resembled like a crocodile with mouth open and a white piece of coconut in its mouth. To escape the ridicule, I had a simple plan. I removed my white socks and put them in my pocket. I thought that was smart because I'm dark-skinned, so nobody could easily see my toes picking out my shoes. An hour into my first class that day, there was a sudden silence in my class. And I noticed somebody standing at the front door of my class. And that was my dad. He had a plastic bag in his hand, and he handed over that bag to my teacher, and teacher gave that bag to me. And I felt over the bag without opening it, and I knew it's a new pair of shoes. I immediately opened it, and it was a beautiful pair of shoes, the one I wanted. I pulled the white socks out of my pocket and slipped into my new shoes, and the transformation in my confidence was instant. And I put my old shoes in my backpack because I know I can repair that and use that as my second shoes. When I came back home that evening, I rushed to see my dad to thank him for the new pair of shoes. And he was so delighted to see me happy. But it was only later that night I realized something very upsetting when I decided to check on my dad's shoes, which was in a worse condition than mine. All my excitement, my happiness about the new shoes just vanished. I felt so helpless, very sad. I couldn't sleep. I started crying. I don't know what to do. I cannot buy shoes for him because I'm a dependent kid. I was thinking, what did my dad compromise? Because he is the only earning member of our family. We are from a middle-class Indian family. I started thinking, what did my dad compromise to get the shoes? Did he skip his lunch? Is he not going to buy new shoes for him for the next couple of years? And also there's a superstition in our culture that wearing worn-out shoes will bring bad luck to you. And all these thoughts started disturbing me, and I couldn't sleep. But before I slept that night, I made a promise to myself. When I get my first job, with my first salary, I will buy a new pair of shoes for my dad. Fast forward 10 years, I'm 22-year-old after completing my master's in computer science. I was hoping to get a job as a software engineer, which is a bit highly paid job in India. But my first job happened to be a teacher, which was not that highly paid job. And I got my first salary as Indian rupee currency in my hand. No bank account, no wallet, literally Indian rupee currencies. I put that salary in my pocket, the same place where I hid my white socks 10 years back. And I went to the downtown near my village. I know there's a nice shoe store there. I walked into the shoe store, and there was the smell of new shoes, leather, and the polish. And on the right side of the shelf, all these expensive shoes, spotlights on, shiny leather shoes. And on the left side, there was this, bit cheaper shoes, but nice ones. And I was looking through the right side of the shelf, and one dark cherry brown shoes. I suddenly struck. I was like, that's the one I wanted. I know my dad loved that color. So I picked that shoes from the shelf and flipped it over and checked the price. And it was expensive. It would cost almost half of my salary, half of the money in my pocket. I was thinking, should I really spend this much to get the shoes? Can I get something cheaper? Then I thought about that incident 10 years back. No, I shouldn't think this way. I should get the best shoes. This is the shoes my dad would love. I should get this. So I asked that guy to pack the shoes. He wrapped it in a gift bag, and I came back home that evening. And I walked into my dad's room. He was sitting there on a chair and writing something. I said, Dad, I have something for you. He just unwrapped the gift, opened it. He looked at the shoes. He looked at me. Again, he looked at the shoes. He looked at me. I know, he definitely know how much that shoe costs. And you, of course, know how much my salary is, he might be thinking. And again, I was hoping he's going to say something, thank you, or something. And then I noticed tears started rolling through his cheek. And I didn't say anything, I just stood there, and I was then walking back to my room. So I was walking back to my room, I was telling myself, this is not a return of favor. This is not fulfilling a son's responsibility for his dad. This is as simple as I tried to walk in my dad's shoes. Thank you.